When I began this assignment, I thought only of my philosophy in education as preparing a lesson plan. So I thought of all the things that I go through to prepare lessons. And along with that, being in career technical education, I was also thinking of how not to just make this about utility. I grew up with very much the Protestant work ethic education philosophy through my childhood, and then brought that into my career technical education teaching. And so looking at that versus a classical education with more literature and questioning and reasoning in that sense wasn't necessarily ever part of my philosophy. So I start up in these, on the top left-hand corner in the green, it's how to get kids to do the project of what's the basic outline, what are the basic directions, and you go over into the top right into the pink, best management practices, safety, how not to let a kid cut a finger off or set themselves on fire, because that happens. What materials and equipment need to be gathered up, and proper vocabulary terms for the industry that they're going into. Bottom left in the yellow, rubrics, and then how this goes along with their other pieces of being in a career technical student organization. So in my case, FFA, with supervised occupational experiences, or what's known as work study. And then in the bottom right, going through the steps, the actual directions, proper use of equipment, and then examples of the finished project. And that was how I got through every teaching day and how I started my basic curriculum map here. As we went through changes that happened in this light pink color, a lot of those came out of my initial gallery walk. So professional development is one. A big part of staying up with industry standards for me is professional development. And then what do we do for retention and review of these skills? And last, ironically, that I did not put on mine, was industry tours and guest speakers. And since I put on literally thousands of industry tours in my today career, it's kind of funny that I didn't think of that and putting it down, but it's not part of my typical lesson plan. As we went through the course, I did add classroom management, and then how my audience works as far as CTE students and where they're at. With some of Howard's teaching, I add the making relationships, empathy, and a sense of community. In the blue circle, creating and promoting dialogue, sharing, caring, and compassion. Teaching in rural schools, I typically have these students for 5 years, or in my current position as a CTSO program coordinator, I work on their capstone projects. And so having that relationship is very important, and living in a small community where we see each other all the time, from checking out at grocery stores or at the coffee shop to community funerals and baby showers and things like that. Showing that caring and compassion makes a big difference. So then in the dark brown in the top left, building on past knowledge of a subject with those funds of knowledge was important to me. And then on the right-hand side in the circles, both consistency is important to everyone, but especially high school students, where it's hard to know what's going to happen day to day in their lives, and just the emotional and developmental changes that are happening there. Having a few things consistent in their lives are huge. And then the flipped videos in the bottom right-hand side, I think of welding classes and where they need to know some theory and some how-to, but they take welding classes and floral design classes, things like that, to actually get to experience it and be hands-on. And the problems that we have are, A, it takes too much time, especially in the kids' opinions, and B, it's hard to give a demonstration where 30 kids can all see what you're doing. So I really liked the idea of a flipped videos that they could watch on their own time, pause, rewind, and find better options for. So that is my curriculum guidelines and map. Thank you.